The Zephyrian High Council convened in the war chamber aboard the Obsidian Spire. The ship hung in silent orbit around the gas giant Vraxel 9. Below, violet storms churned violently, swirling in endless turmoil. Towering black spires pierced the storm's mist. The Obsidian Spire was a fortress of shadows and steel. Inside, the chamber was dimly lit. Flickering holograms hovered above a circular table. Star systems blinked in cold blue and white light. The air thrummed with quiet tension. Counselor Rylick, the elder statesman, tapped a clawed finger on the table. "Humans," he began, voice low and gravelly. "A scattered nuisance, barely worthy of our attention." Around him, the other Zephyrian leaders nodded. Their scales glistened in the pale light. Their eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked over the holograms of human colonies. Counselor Vesh, younger and more eager, sneered. "Their technology is primitive. Small fleets, fragile ships, they barely scrape the edges of space. We can crush them like insects." A sharp clatter echoed as Vorak Ambassador Krell strode forward. Their eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked over the holograms of human colonies. Quote, "I'm," strayed as Maine one. His armor gleamed cold steel, edges like blades. The Vorak were fierce warriors, allies in war and blood. His voice was a growl. "The humans? They cannot even hold a planet against us. Our blade-shaped ships will cut through their defenses in moments." Counselor Rylack waved a clawed hand. "Calm yourself, Krell. Our victory is assured. Their worlds on the fringe are isolated. We will launch a surgical strike, a swift blow, an example to all lesser species." The chamber responded with quiet agreement. Hollow projections of distant colonies flickered. New Terra, Solis Prime, Centauri Outpost. Tiny dots amid the vast darkness. The humans had spread, but only just. Counselor Marn, the strategist, tapped her claws on the table. "Our scouts report small defensive fleets, weak plasma cannons, no major fleet coordination. This will be a quick battle." The Vorak ambassador grunted in approval. "Their fighters fall like leaves in the wind. Soon, the galaxy will no longer waste time on these pests." A low rumble came from the ship's engines. The Obsidian Spire drifted closer to the jump gate. The War Council prepared to strike. Counselor Rylack's gaze hardened. "We will deliver a message. The Zephyrian Empire does not tolerate defiance. Their colonies will burn. Their fleets will scatter. Humanity's fleeting spark will be extinguished." Outside the chamber, the panoramic windows showed the swirling purple storms of Vraxel 9. Lightning cracked like jagged silver swords. The galaxy was vast and dark. The Zephyrian Empire was its master. Yet beneath the cold confidence, a faint unease stirred. Krell's voice cut through the quiet. "If I may, Elder, we should not underestimate them." Rylack's eyes narrowed. "They are a minor annoyance, Krell. Nothing more." The Vorak ambassador's lips twisted into a snarl. "We shall see." As the Council sealed their plans, the Obsidian Spire powered up its dark engines. The Zephyrian and Vorak fleets gathered nearby. Blade-shaped ships gleamed coldly against the starfield. Their plasma cannons rested ready. The humans believed themselves safe. Fragile, weak, but the galaxy was about to test that belief, and the Zephyrian War Council would soon learn one truth. The shadows in the war chamber deepened as the Council dispersed. The Obsidian Spire turned toward the jump gate. The stars awaited. The attack on humanity's fringe worlds was imminent. But what waited beyond the horizon was something none of them expected. The Zephyrian war chamber hummed with cold light. Holograms floated above the polished obsidian table. Flickering star maps, weapon schematics, and distant colonies spun in silence. The council members sat in their high-backed chairs, their eyes locked on the shifting images. Dr. Zeltar, the chief Zephyrian scientist, stepped forward. The chief Zephyrian scientist stepped forward. His translucent fingers traced the outline of a familiar blue-green world. "New Terra," he said. "Human colony barely a decade old. Sensors report minimal defenses. Small fleets, primitive weapons compared to our plasma cannons. A 3D projection of the planet rotated slowly. Cities blinked in orange hues beneath a thin atmosphere. Mining rigs dotted the surface like tiny ants. Look here!" Zelthar tapped a nearby hollow screen. "Their starships lack adaptive shields. Their weapons are slow and low yield. Their technology is archaic." Behind him, Admiral Croth of the Vorak warriors let out a low chuckle. His sleek, blade-shaped vessel hovered silently in orbit, visible through the giant viewport. "They are children playing with toys," Croth growled. "We will crush them before they blink." The council murmured its agreement. Yet, on the far side of the chamber, a shadow flickered. The hologram shifted. A new figure appeared, shrouded in a shimmering cloak of light. The Elithrian's Elder Tivash, voice like wind over ice, spoke from the ancient projection. His eyes gleamed with centuries of knowledge. Zepyrians and Vorak alike, he intoned. Do not mistake their surface weakness for true power. Humans are unpredictable. They adapt faster than any species I have witnessed in millennia. Tivash raised a gauntleted hand. Behind him, flickering images of ancient battles appeared. Humans fighting on barren moons, their ships crushed beneath overwhelming fleets, yet they survived time and again against impossible odds. Look upon these records, he said. Their history is written in survival. They endure. They innovate. They fight with a ferocity born of desperation. A holo display showed a battered human frigate, battered but still firing. Another showed a scorched battlefield littered with alien corpses, human warriors standing victorious. This is no weak foe, Tivash warned. Humans are a storm you cannot hold back. They will change, evolve, and strike when you least expect. The council members shifted uneasily. Dr. Zelthar frowned. Their tech is crude now. Their fleet's small. We have them on the edge. But do you forget, Tivash snapped, that the humans kept their true fleet hidden? That they have weapons we cannot detect? The Elithrians have fought alongside humans before. We know they're cunning. Admiral Croth slammed a fist on the table. You speak like they're champions? They are insects? We will burn their colonies from the skies? The Elithrians speak truth, Zelthar said quietly. We must not underestimate them. Council leader Zorvek raised a hand, silencing the room. We honor your wisdom, Tivash, but the galaxy waits for action. Bah! These frontier worlds do not deserve the attention of our full armada. He gestured to the star maps. A swift strike! Surgical! We crush them before they can rise! Seabosh's hologram glimmered with a faint warning light. Beware the calm before the storm! The chamber grew dark. The flickering stars in the holomap seemed colder now. Outside, the jagged black spires of the Zepyrian council ship loomed over a swirling purple gas giant. Lightning crackled silently beneath its swirling storms. The Vorak warships gleamed coldly nearby. Their blades reflected the violet clouds like sharpened knives. The council prepared its strike. They believed victory was assured. But the ancient warnings hung in the air, unheeded but not forgotten. Humanity was watching, waiting, and soon they would show their true strength. The gray hull of the UESN Defiance gleamed under the twin suns of New Terra. Orange light spilled across its sleek surface, casting long shadows over the hangar bay. The ship hung in orbit, a silent sentinel watching over the mining world below. Inside, the hum of starship engines filled the air. Crew members moved with purpose. Their uniforms were sharp and clean, deep blue with silver trim. Every step echoed against the polished metal floors. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the swirling orange clouds of New Terra. His jaw was tight, his face, weathered from years in service, held calm resolve. Around him, consoles beeped softly, and holograms flickered, maps of local star systems, the positions of fleet vessels, and sensor readouts from planetary installations. Status report, Blake said, voice steady. Scans show normal activity on the surface, sir, replied Lisa Hayes, the ship's chief engineer. Her fingers danced across a touchpad. The glow for her console lit her determined face. Mining operations are stable. No unusual energy signatures detected. Jake Morrison leaned back in his pilot's chair, stretching his arms. That's good. Quiet before the storm, huh? Blake gave a short nod. We've heard whispers from the outer colonies. The Zepyrians and their Vorak allies are stirring, but for now, we hold. The bridge crew exchanged looks. A silent understanding passed between them. They had all heard the rumors of the alien fleets gathering at the edges of human space. Lisa's screen blinked again. Fighter squads are fueled and armed. The drones are running diagnostics. Jake grinned. Ready to dance if things get ugly. The hangar bay doors began to close behind them. Outside, the mining drones buzzed over the planet's surface like swarms of mechanical bees. The twin suns cast long, sharp rays through the thick clouds, painting the scene with a fiery gold. Below, vast mining rigs stretched like metal spiders across the barren terrain. Steam hissed from vents, and glowing refineries processed the rich ores pulled from the ground. The scent of ozone and burnt fuel hung faintly in the recycled air. In the ready room, Jake checked his flight suit. The dark fabric was scuffed in places, proof of many battles, but still strong. His helmet rested on the table beside him, its visor reflecting the glow of the control panels. Lisa joined him, a small smile breaking through her usual intensity. "You nervous?" Jake shook his head. "No, just ready." Blake's voice came over the comm. "All pilots to stations in 10 minutes. This is not a drill." Jake felt the familiar rush, the edge of adrenaline sharpening his senses. He clipped his helmet on and stood. "Let's show them what they're up against," he muttered. Lisa moved to her console, fingers flying. She had been the brains behind many of the Defiance's upgrades, stealth tech, enhanced sensors, and the new quantum missile system still classified even within the fleet. She glanced at Blake briefly. "We've come a long way." "We have," Blake agreed, turning to look out the viewport. The stars glittered cold and distant, but on the horizon the first dark shadows of the alien fleets were starting to emerge, small dots against the black. "Whatever comes," Blake said, voice low but fierce, "we're ready. Outside the bridge, we're ready." Outside the bridge, the crew moved with silent precision. The Defiance's massive engines hummed louder now. The ship adjusted its orbit to prepare for deployment. Jake strapped into his fighter pod, the cockpit lights washing over his face. The controls felt familiar, an extension of his own body. He glanced at the screens, weapon systems green, shields stable, engines primed. Lisa's voice echoed in his earpiece. "Remember, keep your head, watch your six, always," Jake answered, heart pounding. Blake's image appeared on the tactical display. "This is Captain Blake. Our mission is to protect New Terra and its colonies. We won't let these invaders take what we've built." The crew nodded, a silent vow passing between them. Outside the ship, the twin suns dipped lower, casting fiery streaks across the clouds. The calm before the storm was ending, and the galaxy was about to see just what humanity was made of. The void above New Terra darkened suddenly. Superior dreadnoughts and Vorak blade ships surged out of warp. Their massive hulls blotted out stars like black suns, like black suns, like black suns. The jagged silhouettes of their fleet twisted against the purple gas giant swirling storms below. "Contact!" Jake Morrison yelled, gripping his pilot console. His voice cracked through the Defiance's hangar bay. Superior plasma beams lanced through space, striking New Terra's orbital defenses with brutal precision. Explosions blossomed across the planet's surface, mining colonies, refineries, cities, all lighting up like firestorms seen from orbit. The UESN Defiance rocked violently. "Shields at 30%, Lisa Hayes reported, eyes glued to her screens. "Their weaponry cuts through our armor like it's paper." Captain Ryan Blake stood firm on the bridge, jaw clenched. The gray hull of the Defiance groaned as secondary blasts hammered its aft section. "Launch fighters! All squadrons scramble!" Blake ordered. Jets screamed from the hangar, sleek starfighters with sharp nose cones and thrusters flaring bright blue. Jake gritted his teeth as he strapped into his cockpit. "Red Squadron, form up on me!" he barked. The fighters darted into the chaos like hornets. But the enemy fire was relentless. Zepyrian plasma bolts slammed into fighters, tearing wings off or sending vessels spinning out of control. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers against the black backdrop. "Their fire is too fast," Jake shouted. "We're losing pilots." Closer to the surface, Vorak raiders swept low, hurling magnetic mines. The explosions shook space stations and shattered orbital platforms with shockwaves that rippled through the thin atmosphere. On the Defiance's bridge, alarms screamed. "Hull breach," Lisa cried. "Secondary blast in Section 4. Blake slammed his fist onto the console. "Damage control teams, seal the breaches, get our systems back online." But the tempo of the assault only grew. A Vorak warship tore past the Defiance's port side, its sleek hull glinting deadly. Its plasma cannons unleashed a storm of energy bolts directly into the human frigate's engines. The Defiance shuddered. The engine room flooded with sparks and smoke. "Captain, we're losing propulsion," a technician warned. "Divert all remaining power to thrusters," Blake snapped. "Prepare for emergency jump to the gate." Outside, the battle raged like a storm made of fire and steel. The Zepyrian fleet pressed the attack, their enormous dreadnoughts looming like gods of war. Jagged black spires bristled with turrets, each one firing volleys of plasma bolts that carved bright scars across the darkness. Flashes of green and orange explosions lit the void as human fighters fell, one by one. Jake's squadron dodged and weaved, but the alien weapons found their marks. "Mayday! Mayday!" A pilot's voice crackled over comms. "M hit! Going down! Cover me!" he shouted. "M going after that Vorak raider!" His fighter surged forward, engines screaming. He closed the distance in seconds and fired twin-pulse lasers. The Raiders' shields flickered, then collapsed under the barrage. But before Jake could finish, a Zephyrian destroyer loomed out of nowhere. Its plasma beams raked the space between them. Jake's cockpit flashed red. He twisted hard, barely dodging the blast. "Hang on!" he shouted. "I'm going home!" Back on the Defiance, Blake's voice was calm but urgent. "All hands, prepare for jump! This fight is lost!" The jump gate glowed in the distance, a shimmering tear in space. The Defiance slowly limped toward it, battered but alive. The stars stretched and warped as the Defiance vanished into the jump stream. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Blake's eyes were hard and cold. Across the orbit of New Terra, the alien fleet hovered, confident and victorious. The Zephyrian High Council's plan seemed flawless. The fragile humans were broken, but unseen in the shadows of nearby nebulae, faint blue glimmers began to pulse, a hidden force waiting to strike, and humanity was not done fighting. The Zephyrian fleet hung in silent triumph above New Terra. Explosions still lit the planet's scarred surface like dying fireflies. The Vorak ships gleamed coldly, their plumes of victory smoke drifting in the void. The Council's confidence swelled. The humans were broken, crushed. The humans were broken, crushed, their rebellion snuffed out before it could ignite. A shimmer unfolded beyond the ragged edge of the nebula, barely visible in the dark. A faint glow pulsed soft and blue, like a heartbeat in the black. Captain Ryan Blake's eyes locked on the sensors. His voice held steady. "Atlantica, status report," he said. "Emerging from stealth, Captain. All systems green. Quantum missile arrays online. Hull integrity stable," Lisa Hayes replied, fingers flying over the consoles. The UESN Atlantica's hull gleamed with a strange light. It was no ordinary starship. Its thick armor shimmered faintly blue, as if woven from living energy. The secret was finally revealed. "Deploy the missile swarms," Blake ordered. Suddenly, hundreds of tiny points of light burst from the Atlantica's bays. The missiles streaked into space like glowing comets, trailing shimmering tails. They spread in a swirling cloud, moving with uncanny speed and precision. The Zephyrian ships barely had time to react. "Missile swarm incoming," a Zephyrian commander hissed over the comms. "Shields failing, hull breach on Vorath." Green and orange explosions blossomed across the Vorath's hull. The flagship shuddered violently. Its weapon systems went dark in an instant. From the other side of the battlefield, sleek human stealth cruisers slipped forward like shadows come alive. Their hulls flickered in and out of visibility, cloaked by advanced tech no alien had seen before. Lisa's fingers danced across the keyboard. Her voice crackled in Blake's ear. In their comm grid. Confusion spreading. Their fleets are turning on each other. The aliens' brilliant order collapsed into chaos. The Zephyrian ships fired wildly, hitting their own allies. The Vorak warriors hissed in frustration as their formations broke apart. "They never expected us to have this," he said. "Quantum missile swarms, self-healing hulls, electronic warfare at levels they can't touch." He glanced at the holographic display of the fleet. Atlantica and her sisters have been building this force for years, hidden from every scanner. We were ready, waiting. Behind them, the nebula's shimmering tendrils curled like a protective shroud. The human fleet emerged like ghosts from the mist, overwhelming and unstoppable. The Zephyrian flagship exploded in a brilliant fireball, its remains scattering like burning shards. Jake Morrison's voice came over the comm, sharp and steady. "All fighters, Titan formation. Target the Vorak command clusters. Let's finish this." Human ships hummed with renewed energy, their hulls glowing faintly with self-repair nanobots. Every strike they launched was precise, every maneuver flawless. On the Defiance's bridge, Blake stood tall. The orange glow of New Terra's suns filtered through the viewport, casting long shadows across his face. "This is what they missed," he said quietly. "They thought we were weak. They thought we were divided, but we're a storm. They never saw it coming. They're going to remember." The human fleet pressed the attack, sending waves of quantum missiles and stealth fighters into the heart of the enemy lines. Explosions blossomed across space like deadly fireworks. Alien ships spiraled out of control, their crews scrambling for survival. The Zephyrian and Vorak forces faltered. Blake's voice took on a fierce edge. "This fight is ours, because we never stop adapting, we never stop fighting, and we never, ever back down." The secret was out. The humans were no longer the fragile species the aliens had scorned, and they were just getting started. Captain Ryan Blake stood alone on the bridge of the UESN Defiance. The ship's gray hull creaked softly beneath the distant thrum of battle. Outside the massive viewport, stars stretched endlessly, cold, distant, and indifferent, but Blake's eyes burned with fire. His uniform was crisp, dark, with silver rank stripes gleaming on his shoulders. Behind him, the bridge crew worked silently, their faces tight with focus. The hum of the ship's engines filled the air, steady and reassuring. A deep red glow pulsed across the command consoles. Alerts flashed, but Blake did not flinch. He had seen worse. He was a soldier, a leader, and now the voice of humanity's defiance. He activated the ship-wide comm channel. The screen flickered, then stabilized. Across the void, the Zephyrian and Vorak fleets were still closing in, their massive warships cutting through the black like shards of obsidian. Blake's voice came through, clear, steady, and fierce. To all within range of this message, he began, "This is Captain Ryan Blake of the UESN Defiance." His gaze sharpened as he spoke. Every word carried weight. "You came to crush us, to break our colonies, to snuff out our people with your plasma fire and endless fleets. You called us weak, fragile, a minor nuisance at best." He paused. The bridge was silent but for the distant hum of battle. "You thought us afraid, you thought us disorganized, that we would scatter like frightened prey before your might." The stars outside seemed to pulse with his words, as if the universe itself listened. Blake's voice grew stronger, more commanding. "We are not prey, we are the storm you never saw coming." Behind him, the ship's holographic display projected an image of Earth, blue and green, a jewel forged in fire and storms. It flickered next to the outline of New Terra, glowing orange under twin suns. "We built in shadows. We trained in silence. While you hunted, we prepared. Our fleets are not just steel and fire, they are will-made flesh." He looked down at the console, fingers resting on a detailed star chart. Lines traced the intricate paths of human fleets weaving through the stars. "You hide behind your numbers and weapons. We hide behind something stronger, our spirit." Blake turned to face the crew, his eyes burning with resolve. "Jake Morrison, Lisa Hayes, all of you, this message is for our enemies and for ourselves. We will not be broken. We will not be controlled." Lisa, standing near the communications console, nodded grimly. She adjusted the frequency, ensuring the broadcast reached every corner of the battlefront. Jake's hand gripped the joystick of his fighter control station. His jaw was tight. "They think this is the end. Let them watch." Blake raised his hand, silent command. The bridge fell into a tense hush. He spoke again, softer but no less fierce. "This fight is ours, not because of ours, not because of our ships or weapons alone, but because we refuse to bow." Outside, the distant flashes of plasma fire painted the black space with violent color. The Zephyrian flagship Vorath glimmered ominously on the tactical display, massive, deadly, and confident. Blake's voice lowered into a growl. "We are the last line, the shield around our worlds, and we will stand, no matter the cost." The defiant captain's words echoed through every channel, piercing the enemy's confidence like a sword. The alien warlords heard the message, and doubt flickered in their eyes. "Let this be a warning. Humanity does not beg for mercy. We do not yield. We are the storm on the horizon, the fire that will burn your arrogance to ash." He stepped away from the comm console. The bridge lights dimmed, casting long shadows. Outside, the stars stared coldly, but inside, the air buzzed with electric resolve. Jake turned to Blake, eyes fierce. "They won't know what hit them." Lisa's fingers danced across the console. "Im's scrambling their comms now. Confusion spreading fast." Blake nodded. The fight was far from over. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. The Defiance shuddered as distant explosions rocked the ship. But Captain Ryan Blake's gaze never wavered, and the galaxy would never forget it. The bridge crew braced for what came next. The battle was only just beginning. Green and orange fireballs bloomed across the starfield like deadly flowers. Space twisted and tore as ships spun out of control, caught in deadly spirals of plasma and metal. The Zephyrian flagship Vorath shuddered under fire, its sleek black hull glowing hot where human missiles found their mark. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge of UESN Defiance. His eyes never left the view screen. The stars beyond were streaked by tracer lines, missiles, laser blasts, evasive maneuvers. The battle had flipped. "We've got them on the run," Jake Morrison said, voice sharp with adrenaline. His fighter, Viper 9, darted through the chaos, weaving through enemy fire. Vorak reinforcements breaking off, their formations collapsing. Lisa Hayes, fingers flying over her console, grinned. Electronic warfare is wrecking their comms and targeting arrays, feeding false data into their fleet AI. They're shooting at ghosts. The UESN Atlantica led the human fleet like a predator. Its hull shimmered with a faint blue glow. Quantum missile swarms launched in waves, streaking like comets before detonating with terrifying precision. The stealth cruisers slipped through enemy lines unseen, hitting critical systems. Blake's voice cut through the storm, steady and calm. "All squadrons focus fire on the Vorath. Take her down!" Human fighters swarmed like bees, slipping and striking with ruthless efficiency. The Zepyrian flagship buckled under the relentless assault. Its shields flared, then faltered. Explosions ripped through its command tower. The great ship shuddered violently and began to drift, crippled. "Vorath is disabled. Target their command link," Blake commanded. Jake banked hard, lining up a perfect shot. His fighter's gun spat plasma bolts, tearing through the enemy's sensor grid. The Zepyrian fleet faltered. Confusion spread like wildfire. "Commander, Vorak's ships are retreating," Lisa called out. "They're breaking formation. It's a rout." Blake nodded grimly. "Push forward. Don't let them regroup. Hit-and-run tactics. Keep them off balance." The UESN Defiance surged ahead, its engines burning bright orange. Human cruisers and frigates danced through space, striking weak points, vanishing before the enemy could respond. The battlefield was chaos. Shimmering stealth ships vanished into the black, only to reappear behind enemy lines. Missiles arced in deadly sweeps, tearing apart Zepyrian supply ships. Alien war cries echoed faintly over hacked comm channels, twisted into static and confusion. In the distance, the gas giant loomed. Its swirling purple storms reflected in the black spires of the Zepyrian Council ship, a silent witness to their demise. "Captain," Lisa said, voice tense, "their fleet command is in disarray. We can press the advantage, but we need to hit their command station fast. That will break their chain of command." Blake's eyes gleamed. "Then that's exactly what we'll do. Jake, you and your squadron lead the strike team. Hit their command ship. Disable their leadership." "Got it, sir," Jake replied, already maneuvering his fighter into formation. The human strike force accelerated, slicing through the shattered enemy lines. The Zepyrian flagship was down, but the command ship, the Zirak, still loomed, a jagged fortress of obsidian metal and glowing crimson windows. Missiles streaked toward it, shields flared, but human quantum warheads found gaps. Explosions blossomed, tearing deep into the hull. "Incoming fighters," a Zepyrian officer shouted. "Prepare for boarding defense." Jake's squadron danced through the flak, weaving between turrets and firestorms. His leader's voice crackled over comms, fierce and steady. Blake watched the battle unfold, heart pounding. The Zirak convulsed once more. Then, silence. The human fleet pressed the attack, moving swiftly to reclaim lost ground. Once frightened human colonies flashed alive with renewed hope, their orbital defenses rallying. "Humans will not be crushed. We will not be broken. This war is far from over." Blake's voice, calm and deadly, filled the bridge. "We fight not just for survival, but for every star that will ever burn in this galaxy." Outside, the stars shone cold and bright. The human fleet surged forward, unstoppable. The tide had turned, the war was changing, and humanity was just getting started. The Zepyrian War Council chamber was a storm of chaos. Jagged black spires of their massive warship trembled as urgent reports flooded in. Holograms flickered wildly, dots of light blinking out one by one. Their great flagship, the Vorath, was gone. The Vorak warriors, once so proud and fierce, sent fractured messages: retreat, regroup, surrender. But the Council's cold resolve was breaking like thin ice. Councilor Zarnak slammed his clawed fist on the hollow-table. How could this happen? Humanity is supposed to be weak, fragile, expendable. His voice echoed in the dark chamber, but no answer came. Only silence and the haunting glow of dying stars. Across the war-torn system, the human fleet held firm. The UESN Atlantica drifted in orbit around the shattered remains of New Terra. Its gray hull gleamed under the burning orange light of the twin suns. Flags of Earth and the United Earth Space Navy rippled from every ship's mast. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge of the Atlantica, eyes sharp and steady. Behind him, massive windows framed a sky alive with streaking missiles and shimmering warships. His crew moved like clockwork, calm and focused. Status report. Blake's voice cut through the quiet hum. Lieutenant Lisa Hayes tapped at her console. Enemy forces scattered. Communications are down. We control the system. Jake Morrison leaned against a bulkhead, a grin tugging at his lips. Looks like we just sent a message no one will forget. In the fleet command room, the top human commanders gathered. They stood around a large holographic map, planets and fleets glowing in sharp relief. Admiral Chen, a veteran with silver-streaked hair, pointed to the faded red dots of Zephyrian-controlled systems. "We gave them a taste of what humanity can do," Blake replied. The hologram shifted, revealing new targets, far-flung human colonies still under threat. "We secure our borders first," Chen said. "Then we take the fight to them." Lisa's fingers danced over her console. "Our stealth tech and quantum missiles are ready. The enemy won't know what hit them." The room hummed with quiet determination. Outside the bridge, through the massive viewport, the stars stretched endlessly. Ships of all sizes formed a proud armada, sleek cruisers with glowing blue shields, nimble fighters darting like angry hornets. The remains of New Terra burned below, scarred but not broken. The distant gas giants' swirling storms reflected in the hulls, ominous yet beautiful. Blake turned to his senior officers. "We've shown the galaxy we won't be pushed around." He paused, voice low but fierce. This was only the opening shot. He looked out at the stars again. "The galaxy will learn what it means to cross humanity." Suddenly, the bridge lights dimmed. A deep voice crackled over the comm. "Captain Blake, this is Command Center. New intelligence incoming." A new hologram shimmered into life, a vast star map with blinking red markers. "Multiple alien fleets moving toward our borders," the voice warned. "Then we prepare. Every ship, every pilot, every soldier, we fight as one." Jake clapped a hand on Blake's shoulder. The fleet's engines thrummed to life, ships aligned in tight formation, their blue shields glowing like a protective web. Missile silos gleamed beneath armored hulls. Below decks, troops checked weapons. Pilots gripped controls with steady hands. He opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. "People of humanity," his voice boomed through comm systems, clear and steady. "We stand united, unbroken, unstoppable." He let the words hang in the air. "We are the storm you never saw coming, and we will fight, we will win, we will survive." The human fleet surged forward, a silver tide against the dark backdrop of space. Stars blurred past as ships jumped to hyperspace lanes. Behind them, New Terra's flames flickered, a reminder of what was risked and what was won. But humanity would face it head on. They were the galaxy's reckoning, and their story was only just beginning.